There is a power within you, waiting to be claimed. A power so vast, so infinite, that it can reshape your entire existence. You are not bound by circumstances, nor are you at the mercy of what the world tells you is possible. Everything you could ever desire already exists, not outside of you, but within you. The key is to assume it, to live as though it is already yours. Do not wait for the world to change before you feel fulfilled. Do not wait for proof, for evidence, for permission. The world is merely a reflection, a mirror that bends to the state of your being. If you wish to be wealthy, do not beg the world to make you so. Assume the consciousness of wealth. If you wish to be loved, do not chase affection. Rest in the knowing that love is already yours. Whatever you seek, take it now, not with your hands, but with your mind. Your imagination is the blueprint of your reality. Every thought, every inner conversation, every quiet assumption is shaping the world you walk through. If you walk in the feeling of lack, the world will echo lack. If you walk in the confidence of abundance, abundance must appear. This is not wishful thinking, it is law. The unseen world precedes the seen. When you accept this, when you live from the end, the outer world must conform. Feel it now. Step into the version of yourself who already possesses everything. Do not wait for evidence. Be the evidence. Walk with the ease of one who already knows their desire is fulfilled. Carry yourself with the quiet assurance of one who has no need to question. When doubt whispers, dismiss it. When the world presents contradictions, remain unmoved. Reality bends to conviction, not hesitation. It is not your effort that brings things to pass, but your surrender to the state of already having. This is not about forcing the world into submission. It is about aligning with the truth that you are already what you desire to be. The moment you claim it inwardly, the world must reflect it outwardly. Act as if you have everything and everything will be yours. To truly experience the life you desire, you must begin by assuming it is already yours. This is not about mere wishful thinking or daydreaming about what could be. It is about stepping into the feeling of fulfillment before any evidence appears. The greatest mistake people make is waiting for external circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel successful, abundant, or loved. But the truth is, life does not work that way. The outer world is a reflection of the inner world, and until you shift your internal state, nothing outside of you can truly change. When you desire something, the natural tendency is to acknowledge its absence. You think about how much you want it, how different your life would be if you had it, and you constantly check your circumstances to see if any progress is being made. This very act of noticing its absence reinforces the state of not having. The more you affirm that you do not have something, the more your reality will reflect that back to you. The key, therefore, is to stop longing for what you desire and instead embody the feeling of already possessing it. Imagine for a moment that you have already received what you seek. Close your eyes and feel the emotions that would arise if your wish were fulfilled. If you desired financial freedom, how would you carry yourself? Would you worry about bills, or would you move through life with ease and confidence, knowing that all your needs are met? If you desired love, would you feel lonely, or would you walk with the quiet assurance of someone who is deeply cherished and adored? It is this internal shift that determines what will unfold in your reality. Many people believe they must work tirelessly, chase opportunities, and force circumstances to align with their desires. But true manifestation does not operate through struggle. It operates through belief, through the unwavering conviction that what you desire is already yours. When you assume the state of fulfillment, life rearranges itself to match that assumption. It is not about pretending or fooling yourself. It is about stepping into a state of being that aligns with what you want. Consider an actor who is deeply immersed in a role. They do not merely recite lines. They become the character. They move, speak, and think as if they truly are that person. The audience believes in the performance because the actor has surrendered to the role completely. In the same way, you must embody the role of the person who already possesses everything they desire. When you act from this place of certainty, the world responds accordingly. There is no need to force external changes. When you assume the feeling of already having, actions will naturally align with that state. You will be inspired to take steps that bring your desire into physical form. These actions will not be driven by desperation or lack, but by an inner knowing that the outcome is inevitable. This is the difference between struggle and effortless creation. Doubt is the only thing that can stand in your way. The moment you entertain thoughts of whether or not your desire will manifest, you shift back into a state of lack. This is why persistence is necessary. You must remain loyal to the state of fulfillment, no matter what your current reality suggests. The outer world may show the opposite of what you desire, but your job is not to react. It is to remain firm in your inner assumption. Reality is fluid. It bends to the strongest conviction. When you persist in living from the end, circumstances will shift to match your state of being. This is not an accident or coincidence, it is law. The world does not decide your fate, you do. Your beliefs, emotions, and assumptions shape the life you experience. If you wish to transform your reality, you must first transform your state of mind. The moment you fully accept that you already have what you desire, the struggle disappears. There is no more waiting, no more longing, no more questioning. There is only the quiet confidence that all things are unfolding perfectly. This is the key to effortless manifestation. Not hoping, not wishing, but knowing. When you live from this place, the world must reflect it back to you. Your imagination is the most powerful tool you possess, for it is the blueprint of your reality. Everything that exists in your life right now is first a thought, an idea, or an assumption that took root in your consciousness. The world you see, the circumstances you experience, and the conditions that shape your life are all reflections of what you have accepted as true within yourself. If you wish to change your life, you must begin by changing the images you hold in your mind, for they are the seeds from which your reality grows. Most people believe that their imagination is simply a place for idle fantasies, a realm separate from the real world. They do not realize that their imagination is the birthplace of all creation. Everything that has ever been manifested, from great works of art to scientific discoveries, began as a vision in someone's mind. The same is true for your personal reality. What you consistently imagine, what you dwell upon, and what you emotionally engage with will eventually take form in your external world. It is not enough to simply wish for something or to occasionally entertain the idea of it. The images you hold in your imagination must become so real, so vivid, that they feel more alive to you than your current circumstances. This is the secret to creation. When you persistently assume the reality of your desire, it must materialize in some way. This is not a matter of chance. It is an unchanging law. The unseen world of imagination precedes the seen world of form. Consider for a moment the way a sculptor approaches a block of marble. They do not see the raw stone as it is, but as it will be. In their mind, they hold a clear image of the finished masterpiece long before they ever touch the chisel. The same principle applies to your life. If you focus only on what currently exists, you will continue to replicate the same patterns. But if you can see beyond your present circumstances and hold firm to the vision of what you desire, you will begin to mold your reality accordingly. Imagination is not limited by the constraints of the physical world. It is boundless, unrestricted, and infinite. This is why it is the most powerful force at your disposal. When you close your eyes and immerse yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are stepping into a reality that is just as real as the one you currently experience. The only difference is that the physical world takes time to catch up with the inner state you have assumed. Doubt is the only thing that can interfere with this process. When you allow yourself to question whether or not your imagination has any real power, you weaken your ability to manifest. The key is to remain unwavering in your belief. You must trust that the images you create within your mind are more than just fantasies. They are previews of what is to come. When you nurture these images with faith and conviction, they will take root and blossom in your reality. Your thoughts are not meaningless. They are not insignificant. Every thought, every mental picture, and every assumption carries creative power. This is why it is so important to guard your imagination carefully. If you constantly dwell on fear, lack, and limitation, your life will reflect those conditions. If, however, you consistently imagine abundance, joy, and success, those will become the dominant themes of your reality. The world will always confirm what you believe to be true. If you look around and see evidence of scarcity, failure, or struggle, it is not because the world is inherently that way. It is because your past thoughts and assumptions have created that reality. The good news is that just as your past thinking shaped your present, Your present thinking is shaping your future. You are never stuck. The moment you change your inner world, your outer world will begin to shift accordingly. The process of creation begins the moment you decide to take control of your imagination. Rather than allowing it to be directed by external events or unconscious fears, you must consciously guide it toward what you truly desire. This is not about wishful thinking or ignoring reality. It is about understanding that reality is fluid and shaped by the mind. When you commit to living in the assumption of your desired state, life will rearrange itself to match that assumption. There is no force in the universe greater than the power of your imagination. It is the key to all transformation, the bridge between the unseen and the seen. When you fully embrace this truth, you will no longer feel powerless in the face of circumstances. Instead, you will know that you are the creator of your reality and that what you imagine with conviction must come to pass. Confidence is the foundation of manifestation. To bring anything into reality, you must walk with the certainty that it is already yours. There can be no hesitation, no second guessing, no room for doubt. The world does not respond to wishful thinking, it responds to conviction. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, and the way you think all reflect the state you have assumed within. If you desire something, you must embody the version of yourself who already possesses it. This is not about pretending or acting as if in a superficial way. It is about shifting your entire state of being to align with the reality you want to experience. Many people hesitate when pursuing their desires because they are waiting for external validation. They want to see evidence before they believe. They want to be reassured by circumstances before they allow themselves to feel confident. But this approach is completely backward. Confidence does not come from the outside world, it originates within. It is your belief, your assumption, and your certainty that mold external reality, not the other way around. If you are waiting for signs before you commit to your vision, you will forever be at the mercy of chance. Confidence is not about arrogance or forcing outcomes. It is about a quiet, unshakable knowing. When you truly believe in something, you do not need to convince others. You do not need to constantly affirm it or seek reassurance. You simply know. You carry yourself differently. You radiate certainty. This inner conviction influences your actions in ways you may not even realize. It changes the way you speak, the way you make decisions, and the way you respond to challenges. Imagine two people applying for the same opportunity. One approaches with doubt, unsure of their worth, wondering if they are good enough. The other approaches with confidence, knowing that the opportunity already belongs to them. They do not hope, they expect. The energy they bring to the situation is entirely different. The one who is confident is far more likely to succeed, not because they are inherently better, but because their assumption of success shapes the way they are perceived. The world reflects their belief back to them. This principle applies to every area of life. If you want love, you must walk as someone who is already loved. If you want wealth, you must carry yourself as someone who is already abundant. If you want success, you must move as though it is already yours. It is not about waiting, it is about being. This is the essence of manifestation. Doubt is the greatest obstacle. The moment you question whether or not your desire will come to pass, you introduce resistance. You step out of the state of having and into the state of wanting. And as long as you remain in the state of wanting, you will continue to experience lack. The secret is to hold firm, to refuse to entertain thoughts of failure, and to remain steadfast in the assumption that what you desire is already done. Some people mistake confidence for effort. They believe they must constantly push, strive, and struggle to make things happen. But true confidence is effortless. It is not about forcing the world to conform to your will. It is about knowing that it already has. When you are truly confident, you do not chase, you attract. You do not doubt, you trust. This does not mean you do nothing. It means that any action you take comes from a place of alignment rather than desperation. When you are confident, you move differently. You take inspired action rather than reactive action. You do not grasp at opportunities from a place of fear. You step into them with the assurance that they belong to you. People often ask, how do I develop this confidence? The answer is simple. Assume it now. Do not wait to feel ready. Do not wait for proof. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. Decide in this moment that you are already the person who has what you desire, and then move through life as that version of yourself. This is not about faking it or trying to deceive yourself. It is about recognizing that your current identity is based on past assumptions, and that you have the power to change those assumptions at any time. You are not bound by your history. You are not defined by your circumstances. You are defined by the state you choose to dwell in now. Confidence is a choice. It is a decision to trust in your vision, to stand firm in your assumptions, and to refuse to entertain anything that contradicts your desired reality. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Over time, it ceases to be something you do and simply becomes who you are. And when that happens, the world must reflect it back to you, for it can do nothing else. Your state of being determines everything. It is not your words, your efforts, or your external actions that shape your reality. It is the state from which those things arise. The world is simply a mirror, reflecting back to you the dominant feeling you carry within. If you desire to see a change in your life, you must first embody that change internally. You must become the version of yourself who already has what you see. Everything you experience is a result of the state you occupy. There is no exception to this rule. If you constantly feel lack, struggle, or limitation, your world will reflect that back to you. If you dwell in abundance, joy, and fulfillment, your world will conform accordingly. The outer world cannot create your inner state. It is your inner state that creates the outer world. Most people try to change their circumstances without changing their state. They work tirelessly to fix external problems, believing that once things improve, they will finally feel happy, secure, or successful. But this is an endless cycle. The external world is always a reflection of the internal. So if you continue to operate from the same inner state, your reality will continue to mirror it. You cannot escape this truth. The only way to truly transform your life is to shift your state first. If you desire wealth, you must not wait for money to arrive before you feel abundant. You must feel abundant now. If you desire love, you must not wait for someone to love you before you feel worthy. You must embody the feeling of being loved now. Whatever you desire, you must first become the person who already has it. This is not about pretending or forcing emotions. It is about assuming the reality of your desire so fully that it becomes your natural state. When you consistently dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, it will externalize itself effortlessly. This is the law of consciousness. You do not need to beg, struggle, or chase. Your world will naturally reorganize itself to match your dominant state. Imagine for a moment that you have already received everything you have ever wanted. How would you feel? How would you carry yourself? What thoughts would occupy your mind? What kind of conversations would you have? How would you approach your day? These are the questions that matter because they reveal the state you must embody now. When you align with this state, your world will reflect it back to you in ways that seem almost magical. There is no need to concern yourself with the how or the when. The moment you enter the state of already having, you set in motion a chain of events that will lead to the fulfillment of your desire. You may not see it immediately, but the process has begun. The more you trust this, the faster it unfolds. Doubt is the only thing that slows it down. Many people struggle with this because they are too attached to appearances. They look at their current reality and think, but nothing has changed. How can I feel different when my world looks the same? This is where most people falter. They allow external circumstances to dictate their state, rather than the other way around. But the key is to persist in your new state, regardless of what appears before you. If you can hold firm to the feeling of already having, even when the world seems unchanged, you will inevitably witness the shift. This is why discipline is necessary, not discipline in the traditional sense of forcing yourself to work harder, but discipline in your assumption. You must refuse to entertain thoughts, emotions, or states that contradict your desired reality. The moment you slip back into your old state, you reinforce the very reality you wish to escape. But when you remain unwavering in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, your world must conform. The power of state is so absolute that even the smallest shift can have profound effects. A slight change in how you see yourself, in how you feel about your reality, can completely alter the course of your life. This is why some people experience sudden breakthroughs after years of struggle, because they finally shift their state and reality responds instantly. If you want to test this for yourself, pick something simple. Assume a state that is different from your usual one, but not so far removed that it feels impossible. Perhaps you often feel unnoticed. Assume for a day that you are magnetic, that people are drawn to you. Perhaps you often feel financially restricted. Assume for a day that you are abundant, that money flows to you effortlessly. Observe how the world responds. You will notice small but undeniable shifts. People may treat you differently, unexpected opportunities may arise, synchronicities may occur. These are all signs that your state is influencing your reality. The key is to make this a way of life. Do not treat it as an experiment. Make it your new normal. Decide now that you are the person who already has everything you desire. Carry yourself that way, think that way, speak that way, feel that way. When you fully commit to living in your desired state, reality has no choice but to conform. Your state is your destiny. It is the cause of everything you experience. There is nothing outside of you controlling your fate. Only your own assumptions, your own beliefs, your own inner world. When you change your state, you change your life. And the moment you truly embody the reality you seek, the world will rearrange itself to match. Your world is a mirror, faithfully reflecting your inner state. It does not argue, it does not resist, it simply conforms to whatever you believe to be true. The world does not change first so that you may change your beliefs. Rather, your beliefs change first, and then the world follows. This is the fundamental principle that governs all experience. If you desire a different reality, you must first embody the feeling of that reality within yourself. Most people live reactively, allowing external conditions to dictate their state of being. They feel joyful only when something good happens. They feel secure only when they see money in their account. They feel loved only when someone affirms their worth. But this is an illusion. It is an inversion of the truth. The truth is that the external world is shaped by the internal, not the other way around. The moment you understand this, you take back control over your life. You are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are the creator of them. Creation is not about effort. It is not about struggle. It is not about working harder or pushing against the flow of life. It is about alignment. The moment you align with the feeling of already having, the world must reorganize itself to reflect that feeling back to you. This is law. It does not fail. Just as the law of gravity does not fail. If you drop something, it falls. If you assume a state, reality conforms. The process is automatic. The only variable is your consistency in maintaining that state. The greatest secret of all is that there is no separation between you and what you desire. The moment you truly feel yourself to be the person who already possesses what you seek, you have it. The outer world may take time to catch up, but the shift has already occurred at the deepest level. And once the shift is made internally, external reality must respond in kind. There is a simple way to test this. Right now, imagine yourself as already having the thing you desire most. Close your eyes and step into that version of yourself. See the world through their eyes. Feel what they feel. Notice how their energy is different, how their posture is different, how their thoughts flow with ease. Stay in this state for a moment. If you truly embody it, even for a few seconds, you will feel a shift. You will feel the weight of lack dissolve. You will sense a quiet certainty arising. This feeling is the key. If you can sustain it, you will see evidence begin to appear in your world. Most people abandon this process too soon. They do not see instant results, so they assume it is not working. But reality is always in motion, always rearranging itself according to your inner world. If you persist, if you refuse to waver, if you remain in the state of already having, the outer world will bend to your assumption. Doubt is the only thing that interrupts the process. Every time you question, every time you look at the world and say, "But I don't see it yet," you undo your work. You return to the old state and reality follows. This is why faith is essential, not blind faith in an external force, but faith in the law itself. Faith in the certainty that your state determines your experience. When you trust this fully, you no longer seek confirmation in the outer world. You no longer need proof before you believe. You simply assume, and you know. The easiest way to hold your state is through feeling. The mind will try to argue, but feeling is beyond logic. Feeling does not need explanation. It simply is. If you can cultivate the feeling of already having, if you can dwell in that feeling consistently, you will move into the reality where it is true. This is why the greatest transformations happen effortlessly, because they are the result of a complete shift in state, not force or effort. The mind will tell you that circumstances must change before you can feel different, but you must break this illusion. If you wait for change before you shift your state, you will wait forever. But the moment you assume your new reality internally, the change begins. The world cannot resist it, because it is only an echo of what you hold within. This understanding gives you complete freedom. You are no longer bound by conditions. You are no longer limited by past experiences or external factors. You are only limited by the states you are willing to assume. If you can believe it, if you can feel it as true, it is yours. There is no other requirement. Your ability to shape reality is not a matter of luck or chance. It is not reserved for the few who seem to have everything figured out. It is an unchanging law, available to anyone who understands it. The question is not whether it works. The question is whether you will fully commit to it. Make this a practice. Each day, instead of reacting to the world, consciously choose your state. Decide who you are and assume that identity completely. Do not let old patterns pull you back. Do not let appearances deceive you. Stand firm in your assumption and watch how life shifts around you. When you live in this way, you become untouchable. You are no longer swayed by setbacks because you know they are temporary. You are no longer trapped by fear because you understand that everything is a reflection of your inner world. You walk with confidence because you know that what you assume to be true must become your reality. There is no effort in this, only discipline. Not discipline in action, but discipline in assumption. Do you have the discipline to hold your new state, even when the old reality still lingers? Do you have the strength to remain in the feeling of already having, even when the world tries to convince you otherwise? This is the test. Those who pass it experience the fulfillment of their desires effortlessly. Those who waver remain stuck in the cycle of doubt. Your imagination is not a passive tool. It is the very substance of creation. Everything you see, touch, and experience first existed as an idea, as an image within consciousness before it materialized in the physical world. The unseen shapes the seen, and the inner world determines the outer. The mistake most people make is believing that their imagination is separate from reality, that it is merely a place for fantasies or idle thoughts. But imagination is the foundation of all that exists. It is not an escape. It is the blueprint from which your reality is built. What you accept in imagination as true will externalize itself in your world. It does not matter whether the current circumstances suggest otherwise. The moment you assume something to be real in your inner world, you have planted the seed for its manifestation. The physical world is simply a delayed reflection of your state of being. If you wish to change your life, you must first change what you entertain in your imagination. The world cannot show you what you have not first assumed within. Most people allow external conditions to dictate what they imagine. They see lack and reinforce it by imagining more lack. They feel lonely and reinforce it by imagining rejection or abandonment. They experience setbacks and reinforce them by imagining continued struggle. But this cycle can be broken the moment you recognize that imagination precedes reality, not the other way around. The moment you take control of your inner world, the outer world must follow. It has no choice but to mirror your dominant state of mind. To live a fulfilled life, you must imagine yourself already in possession of all that you desire. This is not wishful thinking, this is creation. Do not wait for external proof before you assume something to be true. Assume it first, and the proof will come. If you desire success, see yourself as already successful. If you desire love, feel yourself already deeply loved. If you desire abundance, dwell in the feeling of already having more than enough. The key is to persist in this assumption, to make it your new reality within, regardless of what the outer world currently reflects. Doubt is the only thing that interrupts this process. If you allow yourself to waver between faith and fear, between assumption and disbelief, you delay the manifestation of your desires. The mind will try to convince you that what you imagine is not real, but this is the great illusion. Imagination is the only reality, and the physical world is merely its shadow. When you fully accept this, you step into your power as a conscious creator. The greatest minds, the most successful individuals, and the most fulfilled souls have all understood this secret. They lived in their imagination first. They assumed their desires as already accomplished before the world gave them any evidence. And because they persisted in this inner knowing, the world had no choice but to conform. When you master your imagination, you master your life. The world is waiting to reflect what you choose to assume. But once you understand this, once you truly grasp that reality is a mirror, you are free. You are free to choose your state at any moment. You are free to step into the life you desire without waiting, without struggle, without limitation. The power has always been within you. The only question is, will you use it